Welcome back, and it's still your view reaching you live from TVC. A 64-year-old herbalist, Alhaji Olatunji Azeez, was recently paraded by the Lagos State Police Command and confessed to burying a 68-year-old custom officer, Mrs. Angela Carey, and her 10-year-old adopted daughter alive. The victim, Angela Carey, had been introduced to Azeez to help her find a solution to her barrenness. Azeez was said to have carried out a series of rituals and concoctions for her to no avail. Disappointed with the results, Carey asked for the 9 million naira refund she paid Azeez, and all hell broke loose. Azeez, who showed no sign of remorse for his crime, said he committed the act in order to prevent the victim from demanding the 9 million naira he used to prepare charms and concussion for her. What are your thoughts on this? It's your view. You can share it with us and let it count by calling 07080668014 or tweeting to us at Your View TVC. We'd like to hear from you.
Now, first of all, this woman had got the main reason why she went to this herbalist 5 years ago was because she wanted protection from family attacks because of her position as a customs officer, and then it went down to I'm burying, I want a child. And I think this is just a way of showing us that over-dependency on this herbalist is not really advisable. I don't know if I would fault the woman for her death. I don't know.
Apart from the fact that the man was not remorseful about killing the woman
And her daughter.
and her daughter, adopted daughter, this woman already paid you 9 million naira for a concussion you knew would not work. The man knew it wasn't going to work. He was just collecting the money, because if you read the story completely, the man said he knew that he couldn't do any concussion to make her start having children, but he knew that the woman had money. So it was also an opportunity to collect money from the woman. The woman just sold her property worth over 100 million naira, and pastors were collecting money. So when he heard that pastors were collecting money from her, he also used that, I'll give you children, collected money from her. After collecting 9 million, he had the nerve to sell our car, which was how they were able to find him out. So if he had just parked the car somewhere, he might have escaped free. But to show the level of hard-heartedness in him, he sold 9 million, killed the person. He could have thrown the car away, but he sold it for cash. He collected money.
He could have dashed someone right after someone
was
had
so
paid you that
upset
much
money.
money.
No, if you dash somebody,
heartless.
you'll still
dash
have
and
traced the
sell.
car back
What's
to
the
him.
difference?
Go ahead.
And dash and say, what's the difference?
You know?
Me, I have issues with the insecurity that led to her death in the first place.
Thank you.
Because you see people that, she just was not ever secure. The pastors took 15 million, the man decided to take 9 million.
That's personal insecurity now. That's lack of
That is the woman. Now you're running away from your family members. This is what we see. That is how it happens when you think everybody around you is somebody evil. And then you start
paranoid.
Look at the person she trusted.
Herbalist.
The worst person ever was who she trusted to protect her from her family members, people who were there with her when she was a baby and did not kill her.
Now, if she was 68, it means that she met him when she was 63. She should have been wiser.
I
would
know,
expect
right?
that
How? Okay, maybe I've seen reports where a 50-year-old woman was able to be a gestational mother, but then you're 63. What are the chances your womb is still working?
No. Just last week.
Carry a baby.
No, just last week, a hospital did IVF for a 60-year-old lady, and she had a baby. And my neighbor was even saying, at 60-year-old, you should be a grandma. Just forget it, adopt children. She already adopted a daughter. So at 63, you are all of a sudden very eager to have a child.
Why?
And then you don't go to a hospital where they could do an operation. You're going to a herbalist.
She's been to
prepare.
hospitals. She's been to hospitals. She went to pastors. Now, the
At
thing is,
63
the
is
thing
my
is,
issue.
the man told her that there's no way you can have children. And the woman said, no, my pastor said I can have children, that there are many cases of miracles happening. I believe in miracles. Then mentioned how she has given her pastors over 15 million naira to help her. The man realized that, this is an opportunity for me to make money. So it was more of a money-making venture. And I think we should be wiser. This thing has happened too many times. We're happy that this guy got caught. But there are herbalists out there.
Unfortunately, he's not remorseful. Let's take our first phone call. Shola has called in from Ikpaja. Good morning. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Good morning, ma.
How are you today?
I'm fine. Ekujameta. Stancy, I really love this here. It's really local.
Again, everybody's going traditional.
At least now you go home now. It's not about certification now. So you are aligned with the grassroots. You started your own campaign. Anyway, I'm not really concerned about what the woman must have went through. at times when you are too curious, you end up getting what you don't want. I just want to make reference to the way we analyze the political situation in Ekiti. When you go through the media, I once told you on air that, excuse me, you are not in this state. You read things on paper. Those who are there will really tell you what is on ground. The detail cannot even be told with 1 minute or 10 seconds, or 10 minutes or 1 hour. But we are so emotional when we come to the situation in this country because of the rot we have at the top level, which straight down to the bottom. I understand all this. But when it comes to politics, you people should understand that no matter how unknowledgeable academically that old woman is in his village, he has some sense of what he wants in his environment. We must always recognize this. We must always accept the people.
That's a picture of the lady, the custom lady, and her daughter that was buried alive. Thank you very much, Shola from Ikpaja, for calling. Moving straight on to the story. This saddens me because we hear
the young lady was involved, the 10-year-old.
But we must applaud the police, however.
The way he killed that woman and her daughter is...
But we must, as we're all sitting down here, I just realized that we've been talking and we did not identify that the police heard the reports that she had been missing and they got the details of the car and they found out about it and they found the car, they were able to trace it. That on its own is what praise. Yes, it's applaudable.
I agree.
And as much as they always say bad about police, this is the good things about the police.
Can I come back to how they traced her? The car had a car tracker.
Well, at least.
So it's easy.
But the police at
you
least
just don't want to. So you just don't want to
That's not the
appreciate.
issue. That's not the issue. YK told us how her own car got stolen and was tracked. Just go back to your car tracker and it's traced. You know? So we're saying that the police did well because, I mean, if they wanted, they could have covered up the story.
I want to pick out some things in that story. This woman, initially when she met the herbalist man with the allergy name, God help us Muslims with bad
Please, let's take another phone call. Don't forget what you're saying. Reverend Dominic has called in. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, ladies. How are you today?
Well, fine. Thank you for joining us.
Quickly, let's talk about this woman. I had to mentioning pastor, take 50 million. Pastor, take 50 million.
That's a picture of the lady and her daughter.
And the pastor, and the herbalist.
Hello.
Yes.
Is it not better the pastor takes 50 million and allow her to go or her ignorance than the Babalawo to take it, put more cost on her, kill her at the same time? That should teach all women a lesson. They're looking for fruit of womb. There are things you cannot change in life. We are pastors. But when we say the truth, somebody believes it. Until when you meet a fake pastor also, who tell you all things is possible. There's many affliction to the righteous. Let me leave that one alone.
You don't pay for miracles, Reverend Dominic. You don't.
Hello. Can I hear you? Say what?
You don't pay for miracles. You can't pay for a miracle. You can't. If you pray, you go to a pastor, you pray. You shouldn't be paying them money for it. You shouldn't pay herbalists. When you want a miracle, you pray to God. You are paying through a pastor, but not paying the man.
I agree.
Listen to me. There's nobody that pays for miracles. It is a gullible woman that meets a gullible pastor. I've been preaching for 28 years. There's no man. It's gullibility. When you are gullible, you meet a gullible pastor who will extort you. That where you worship, your pastor will not do that. I know your pastor. Let me not go there. Well, I'm sorry, there's gullibility in Nigeria.
Okay.
And this gullibility is killing everybody.
Okay, thank you very much, Reverend Dominic.
But just brought something.
From the story, he does have a point. Because the herbalist story, he said he already told the lady that you cannot have a baby anymore. And she said, don't say that to me. Miracles can happen, you know. And because he realized that other people had been, making money from her, then he occurred to him also
to just
to make money.
Yeah. But he brings up something very, very important. Desperation to have children. It was, he said something, when you become desperate for something, you go and meet the bad people. She was so desperate to have children. We've discussed on this panel how we feel that women are not complete until they have children. So this woman, even at 68,
already had a child.
Adopted, but she wanted her own because probably somebody in her family kept saying that it's not your child. Oh, Loyuri, you're barren, and over and over again. And I'm sure women were our own worst enemy. You keep talking down, and it's led to our death right now. Desperation.
Okay, Mrs. Adetola has called in. Let's take her phone call. Good morning, ma. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. I just want to contribute
The Bible says the fruit, children are God's heritage, and the fruit of the womb is His reward. I'm sure if this woman was a Christian or if he had made good pastors, she would have been made to understand this, and she wouldn't have gone to meet a herbalist that has taken her life and the life of a child, a beautiful child she adopted. That is one. And two, if you have adopted this child and you have opportunity to adopt more if you wanted more, you could have done that. The money she gave to pastor, gave to herbalist, she would have used the money to adopt more children. She doesn't really have to have her biological children for her to have life. For her giving life to those children in orphanage, God will even bless her. She didn't have to go to a herbalist. Now the herbalist has killed her, collected her money. I can bet you if this herbalist uses that money now to bribe his way through, he might be set free. But she would have been gone and faced God for judgment. What is he going to tell God now that he didn't follow God's will? He followed the herbalist and lost her life. Wow. So we women, we should be very careful. Children come from God and not from man. Good morning.
You know, I absolutely agree with Mrs. Adetola, because if she wanted more children, it's not compulsory that you should. It has to be your ovaries and whoever's sperm.
Especially when you're doing past menopause.
But like I
exactly.
said, you have
an option of adopting other children if you want, and if your community is against you. This is a very rich, influential woman. You have an option of leaving the country or going to somewhere else and starting a new life with your children.
Nima,
Tope was right that we women are our own worst enemies. You're married, you don't have a child. It just has not yet come. It's not like God has, declared you barren. But the immediate people around you just will not let you have peace of mind. And then you start, your own personal traits start to come out, whether you're a really selfish person. Because if you have all the money in the world and you're a selfish person, then you would insist it must be your own direct children. And your desperation would lead you to trusting the wrong person. Number one is she was insecure. Number two, she was trusting the devil himself. If all the time she went to those pastors, she was giving them she had spent over 50 million with the pastors, she would have met someone that would have told her the truth. And she would have said, no, this is not what she wants.
Look at the professional mom with that money.
Look at the picture of the Aziz. He's answering questions from journalists.
I read
and
it.
I saw, no, I didn't read.
I saw the video.
Man. He didn't seem remorseful
at all.
Very heartless.
In fact, to quote him verbatim, he said, when you go into a war, whoever comes out is the one who is victorious.
That it was his life against the woman's
a Yoruba man.
But let's learn something from this.
He literally interpreted the proverb.
Let's learn something from this, because we can, as much as we're saying she made a mistake, the point is other women are out there desperate that they want to have children. This is a picture of what might happen to you.
Herbalists are in business because there are many customers.
So please learn. Don't fall into this kind of trap. No matter how much money you have, this woman is very rich. She's in the force, but yet a man was able to disable.
Jessica has called in. Let's take a phone call. Good morning, ma. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. I'm happy to speak to you people. I've been trying for the past few days. Anyway, please let us just be kind with this woman. We don't know what it is like not to have your own child. It is very painful. It is very devastating. So sometimes desperation can lead us to where we don't want to go. It doesn't mean that is who we are. Let us be careful to condemn other people because we are not in their shoes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I know that we are not in their shoes, but there are a lot of you'd be amazed at the number of women who are living with their own adopted children.
Let me reply. I have an over 40-year-old woman who has remained a very close friend of mine. She takes care of my daughter like she was her own because she doesn't have a child. She has so many children around her who are not her direct children, neighbors' children. You just bring your child, she'll take the child. That woman says something to me all the time, that she doesn't go to churches looking for children, and she doesn't go to Herbalist looking for children because she wants to remain a sane person. That is why I say all the time that you don't make enemies of the people who you should listen to. When you listen to the negative part, always take the positive and live your life. Sift it and take out what you do not need. When people keep telling you, bringing you down with what they say, someone would encourage.
Someone would encourage you.
To the herbalist.
A friend of hers did.
Yeah, a friend of hers did. We'll take a few tweets. Can you get any? No, okay, I have some. Maybe Sanzu will read them.
Okay.
But the lesson... Okay, all right. We'll take a commercial break and come back to... we'll further discuss this and read some tweets. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, thank you for staying with us. We'll take a few tweets so that we can round up on this woman's issue. The lesson that I have learned, we should be content wherever we are. Don't allow the external pressures get to you. Secondly, the communal living that we have always lived in Africa, we need to find it again. Because the first thing she was running away from was family. And so she ran away into, you know, a murderer's arms.
Well, we have a tweet from Tunde Olaoye. He says, the way society paints people without children and unmarried is unfair. Religious institutions also encourage that it is a must. I agree. And Didi Doris Stefani says, women, be careful. We always fall victims. Be patient. No woman is barren. Haba. She would have adopted more and waited on God. And Kemi at Tweezers 03614 says, her desperation was fueled by her wealth. Women who think they can spin the world with money should be careful. And No More Loss, okay. No More Loss says, where did this woman get her fortune from? How much was she paid for her service to the nation? Karma might just be the case.
Well, we leave that to God to decide. We will move on. There is a fresh insight into why breast cancer is very prevalent among Nigerian women. Find out more with our guest after the break. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.